Hi all, welcome back to another video from Guide to Solidworks. So today we are going to go back to basics. So we are looking at introducing a drawing skills and looking at dimensioning and setting relationships. So we're going to go through some very basic drawing tasks, just get an idea of how we use the drawing icons on the screen and getting used to SolidWorks in a way. So for those of you who are new to SolidWorks, this tutorial is going to be perfect for you. So we're going to start off on the front plane, and I'm going to sketch on that front plane. Now I'm going to spend most of my time just in, well, in fact I'm going to spend all of the time in this tutorial just in sketches. We're not going to be messing with 3D and extrusions of features today. We're just going to be doing 2D sketches to get used to how we can lay out sketches. So let's have a look at some of the tools first. So the first thing I'm going to do is having a look at how we can use some of the rectangle tools. So in this sketch icon at the top, I have got my sketch tools. I'm going to use, starting off with a corner rectangle tool. So there's a few different ones in here. So if I click on there, I've got loads of different options for them. I'm going to start off with this corner rectangle tool. So the important bit about sketching is our position in which we start. Now we always want to start from the origin. So I'm going to start from this origin position here. And I'm going to click and then drag out like so. Okay, now once I've created that shape, I have two black lines and two blue lines. Now what I want to do is turn all these lines black, which basically means that they're fully defined. At the moment it's saying at the bottom of the screen here, they are underdefined. So I want to make sure that they're fully defined. So if I come up to the top of my screen here, I've got my dimensions. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to set some dimensions. So I want to know how far across it's coming. So I'm going to set that as 50. I want to know how far up it's coming. So I'm going to set that as 50 as well to create a square. Okay, so there we've got a fully defined square. So defining through dimensions. Okay, we can do the same. However, if we, for instance, want the center of our square to be our starting point, so let me get rid of this. I'll highlight that and delete. We can use the center rectangle tool. So center rectangle tool, click on there, go to the origin again, but this time it's going to come out from the center. Like so, and drop down. Okay, now again I'm going to use dimensions just to set that up. 50 and 50 across the bottom. So I'm just adding the dimensions in to show the sizes that I want this to be. Now some of you might have noticed as I am drawing, so I show you on here, as I am drawing, you will see that a dimension line is coming up. Now that's just an add-in that I've added into the software. While that's up, if I don't click, what I can do is I can type in 50 and it will set the line automatically and I don't need to dimension that up. The way we add that in is if we go to options at the top there, and we come down to sketches. And when we're down at sketches here, we can enable on-screen numerical input or entity creations, and then we can click here, create dimensions only when value is entered. But if I want to unclick that, it will get rid of that process, so we don't keep seeing it all the time. I'll just take you through. If you click it, it means that you're putting them on. If you don't, then if it's not clicked, then you're not using it. Okay, so let's introduce the circle as well. So we can use the circle tool and the arc tools. Now the circle tool, again, works better from the origin. So if we click on the origin, like so, and we can just add in a circle of, say, 50 again. Now you can type in the sizes at the side. If I'm typing in the sizes at the side, I'd set the radius, 25. But it's still not actually defining that circle, so I can still drag it and it'll still change it. So I do need a dimension on there to set that fully defined shape, like so. Okay. Okay, so another way we can start to add in relationships if we are using multiple shapes is with squares and circles. So if I'm going to show you with a rectangle again, center rectangle, so I'm going to again make that 50 and 50. And 50. Now, what I can do, if I wanted a circle, 50 diameter too, I can click on the circle tool at the top, find the center point, and rather than having to actually dimension this circle, because I've already got this square, I can bring my circle out and it'll snap to the outside. So you can see how it's created that orange relationship there. It's snapped to the outside of the square that I've created. Click on that, escape, so that I can see the line better, and it will have defined it because it's got a link, a tangential link there to that top line, so it can't go any bigger than that. It also can't go any smaller. It's attached to it. So that's another way of creating the specific size by being able to link it to components as well. Okay. Arcs are a little bit more interesting. So if I, for instance, have a cutout, like so, let's say that's a 90-degree corner, I can create an arc between the two. Now, if I'm just going to go for let's just go for a center point arc. So if I'm going to go for a center point arc, I can click the center from where I want it to start to, out to the edge, and then go round to where I want it to go. Now, because of the fact that it's not picking up the section there, it's trying to come this way, but it's not picking up that point. So I'm just going to come around, get it in layer of it, and click there, like so. Okay. Now, because there's a gap, what I can do is I can grab hold of the end, and I can move that around, pull it side to side, and drop it on the end of that arc. So now there's a relationship between them two lines and that arc. Now, what I want to do is I want to set a size to that. So let's say it's a radius of 25, and it will change the two lines with it. So that's just showing you how we can set a relationship up between an arc and two lines, and we can change the size of them just by changing the size of that arc. Okay. We can also, for instance, if I take the relationship of the horizontal off there, so click on that relationship and change it, I can also change the distance I want this arc to come round, and that's simply just by clicking on one line, clicking on the other line. Oh, I picked the center point, sorry. Clicking on one line, clicking on the other line, and it will give me the angle between the two. So if I say I change that to 45 instead of 90, it will change my angle around to 45. So it's coming up now, and we've got a section, a smaller section. Okay. Right, so let's start looking at some shapes and how we can create more complex shapes with lines and sizes. So if I want to create, let's call it an L shape, what I would do is I would always just draw a rough outline, like so. So I've just gone around creating that rough shape, and then add my sizes to it after. So let's call that there 30. And I'll use the dimension tool, just going around the outside, to give me my sizes that I need. I won't need to dimension up every single line though. The software is quite intuitive, so it will know by dimensioning them lines up, that these two lines are the fixed size. So I've gone 30, 30, 10, and 10, giving me these two values here. So the software knows that that is 20 and that is 20 because of these two 10 dimensions. So again, giving me a fully defined shape. We can go more complex than that though. We can move on to, again, carrying on using dimensions. We'll use dimensions here for probably the final time now. And we can create a little bit more of a complex shape. So let's go for an eye shape, like an I-beam. So again, I'm going to get that rough outline and I'm going to purposely make it really rough for you here. Let's start adding a few more bits in. Okay, so I've got this shape. Now it's all over the place. I'm going to, for this one, use a combination now of what we call relationships and dimensions. So let's get my dimensions in place. So 30 across the bottom. And I'm going 30 up the side. From there to there. Okay. Now I'll make this 5. And I'm going to make this one here also 5. I'm going to make that one 10. And that is the only one that I'm going to make 10. The rest of them I will leave at a nominal size. And I will show you what I'm going to do with them. Okay, so from that then, I now need to start using some relationships. So for instance here, now you'll see where it's blue. And now what I like to do just to see why it's not working is go to the line, click on it and move it. Why is it moving? So it's moving, if I drag it up and down, it doesn't move vertically, it only moves in the horizontal. So I need to create something that fixes this in the horizontal. Now, this line here doesn't move, it's completely black. So what I'm going to do is click on the corner there and click on the corner at the top. Now by clicking on both of them corners, I can add a vertical relationship, so they're fixed vertically. Which now means that's gone black. If I click on it now, I can't move it in the horizontal, it's fixed. It's fixed in line with this line at the bottom, like so. And I can do that around. So if I click this corner and that one there, and fix them in the horizontal, like so. And the same at the top here with that and that. Fix them in the horizontal. And then on this outside line, there, and fix them in the vertical. Now the only issue I have now is that this line here will still slide across. Now I know that that bit and that bit need to be the same size. So what I can do, if I click on both of the lines, I can come to my relationships down the side again here. Now these are all the different types of relationships I can make between these types of lines, or what's available for me to make. Now here I've got one where it says equal. So I want them two lines to be equal to each other. So if I click that, makes them the same size as the one that's been dimensioned. Tick, and now we'll see how the shape is completely fully defined. Okay, now I've still used a few dimensions here, but I've not had to use half as many as I could have had to. Okay, so now from there, I want to take you through a process where we're going to combine a few shapes together. So let's have a look at, again, using the center rectangle tool. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go from the center, the origin, and drag it out wide. Now I'm going to set a size to this of 80 across the bottom and 50 at the side. Okay, so that has now given me a rough outline shape. Now what I want to do from there is I want to create a radius on the outside edges of these. So I'm going to come to the fillet tool here. So sketch a fillet, and I'm going to make sure it's set to 10 mil, which it is in this case. And I'm going to click on there, there, and there on each corner, and it'll give me a example of what it's going to look like in yellow. Tick there if I'm happy, and that will round them corners off for me. Okay. Now they will give me effectively where the center of this, if it was a full circle, would be. So at them points now, I'm going to draw another circle on all them points. I'm not going to mess around putting size on it yet. I'm just going to draw 4 circles on them center points. Okay. Now I'm going to dimension one of them up. So I'm going to make that circle to 8 mil diameter, like so. It's just a small circle. Now that one is now defined. So to make the rest of them defined, I'm going to click on that one circle, and I'm going to click on the rest of the circles, like so. And again, using that equals tool, I'm going to click equals, and it will change all of them to the same size as that circle. Tick there. And we've got a nice sort of shape with the circles in rounded corners. So we're using a few different tools together to create that component. Okay, so the last one. Let's have a look at this last one we're going to do. Now, I'm going to introduce the mirror tool on this one for you. So, picking up lots of points here. So let's exit that sketch, discard sketch. Okay, and let's just start a new sketch there. So front plane, sketch. So I'm just going to start another new sketch on that front plane again. Now, what I've got here, I'm going to do what looks like a bit of an arrow shape. So let's start. Now, first of all, I'm going to start from this origin, and I am going to create half of this shape. Like so. Okay. Now, to help me out here, I'm going to put what we call a center line straight down the center of this. So a center line, and that just designates to me that this component is only half, so we could have a mirror image of this on the upper half to give us the same size. Okay, so I'm going to set some sizes here. Now, I know the whole length of the bottom of this for both sides, so I could either half that and measure just that half, or if I do know the full length, if I move past the center, not playing now, if I move past the center, okay, it's not picking it up. Okay, that's fine. It's just not picking up at the moment. So if we know half of it, we'll just divide it by 2. So let's call that 5. Yeah. And I am going to give this a distance of 20. And I'm going to set a radius on here of 45 degrees. And I'm going to set a distance along here of 35. Okay, so that has not completely defined itself. Now, the reason for this is it doesn't know how far it needs to come out. So I'm just going to add a dimension in there as well to give me that distance out. Let's go 10, like so. Okay. Now, what we've done there is we've created quite a complex shape in half of a drawing. Now, I could redraw that, I could add relationships in, but sometimes it's more prominent to just use what we call the mirror entities tool. So using this shape that I've created, I can come to mirror here, and I can select all the lines that I want, like so. There are the lines that I've drawn, and then I can mirror about. So using the mirror about tool, click on there. Didn't like me then. So we can select them. If we don't want to select them one by one, we can highlight and select them that way. I'm going to mirror about, and I'm going to select that center line there. And what that's doing is it's creating the same shape as a mirror image across that line. And if this shape is fully defined, the mirror image will be fully defined. And if I change this shape, so let's change that to 5, it will change my mirror image as well, with this software being completely parametric. Okay. Right, so they're just some beginner drawing tips for you to have a go at, sketch tips, and looking at how we dimension, what we use dimensions to do, and how we can also use some relationships just to fully define our drawings. Hope that's helpful for those of you who are just getting started with the software. And please come back, have a look at some more videos and tutorials. I'll link in the top corner of the video the beginners tutorials for Solidworks, and have a play, have a go. Practice makes perfect, that's what they say. Have a good go, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Give us a big thumbs up if you've liked this. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.